As Governor Eric Holcomb continues to focus on filling thousands of jobs in Indiana, he's looking to the state's prisons for help. During his State of the State address earlier this year, he said the state will graduate at least 1,000 inmates.
And we won't forget the 27,000 Hoosiers in our prison system. By 2020, we'll graduate at least 1,000 inmates annually in certificate programs that will lead to good jobs when they get out.
The Department of Correction is increasing its vocational training programs to align with those workforce development goals. As Barbara Brozier reports, it led the state to introduce 2 new programs in just the past year.
Stacy Jennings is typing what may look to many like a foreign language.
For me, it takes a little longer because I like to understand what I'm doing and why it's doing it.
She's working on her website, which will eventually include her portfolio and resume.
This is the CSS, the design part of it.
And she admits this isn't the path she initially pictured for herself.
I've always was involved in schooling, education, and things, but when I went home, I couldn't utilize it.
Jennings is incarcerated at the Indiana Women's Prison in Indianapolis. She's been in and out of the system for years, but says she's finally developing the skills she thinks will help keep her out.
For one, it will help you be employed and be able to support yourself financially, and that helps get you over some of the obstacles that you face when you go home and you're faced with all these obstacles, like how I'm going to live, how I'm going to survive, how I'm going to support myself.
This group of women makes up the inaugural class in Indiana's The Last Mile program, a 1-year course that teaches women how to code. The class meets for several hours every day.
There are 3 big technologies that the whole internet is based off of, and we teach them all of those 3.
The goal is to arm women with the skills needed to land a job as a computer programmer upon their release. And that has a direct impact on recidivism. According to the DOC, nearly 34% of offenders returned to prison within 3 years of their release date in 2017. But at other facilities with the last mile, there's a 0% recidivism rate among graduates, and 100% get a job or continue their education after their release.
Correctional education prepares you to enter the workforce, but once you get into the workforce and you get a job within 90 days after that, you retain employment, your recidivism rate, it's just a perfect alligator mouth. As your education goes up, your employment goes up, your employment goes up, your recidivism rates go down, down, down. They're linked together.
It's part of a shift toward more hands-on vocational training in Indiana prisons. A big change is the focus on career paths with national certifications like welding. Earlier this year, 10 women graduated from a new program at Madison Correctional Facility. They underwent 80 hours of hands-on training to obtain an American Welding Society certificate.
The employer knows what you know, knows your skill level, as opposed to you or the former offender, the released offender, sort of stating, well, I think I can do that.
And those types of programs can also help offenders stay out of trouble while they're still incarcerated. Emily Boyer says the last mile gives her a sense of pride she didn't have before.
Right now I'm working on a tic-tac-toe game, and you wouldn't think it would be that difficult because it's like click a button. But there's so much more that goes into it than that.
She still has a few years before she could be released, but Boyer hopes to move to a bigger city and get a job as a software engineer. She thinks being in a new environment, armed with new skills, will help ensure she doesn't end up here again.
I want to wake up and want to go to work. And so I think that's where I'm headed with it.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Barbara Brozier.